Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Willy's World podcast. How are you? I hope you're well. I just had a delicious lamb casserole. Wish you could be here to eat it with me, but you're not, because I'm in the studio and I don't allow other people in my studio when I'm working on the podcast. Just a personal rule, sort of a quirk, if you will. Look, we've got a great opening bit, and I think we should dive right in. Okay? So this bit, let me take you to well, it's kind of creepy, but let me take you to a girl's. It's not a good way to start, is it? This story takes place in like a girls' high school, like a girls' Catholic high school, college thing. Anyway, the nuns who run this college, they realize that some of their vegetables have been going missing sort of week to week. Every time they go to make their casserole thing, much like I enjoy casserole, these nuns too enjoy casserole, and they've been noticing that every week as they make the batch of casserole for the girls in the college, and it's sort of like a remote college, like where you board. A lot of moving parts to this joke, stay with me. Anyway, they notice that when they go to make this casserole every week, that the carrots seem to be mysteriously missing. And one sister turns to the other sister and said, "Have you noticed that every week we seem to be awfully low on carrots?" And the other sister says, "I did happen to notice that. Every time I reach for the carrots, there's no carrots. It's a mystery." So anyway, the next week, they decided to be very cunning in their nunny ways, and they sort of did a little stakeout in the kitchen. And lo and behold, one of the girls, who was sort of known as a sort of a mischievous girl, crept in. They saw her creeping into the kitchen there at midnight, and they caught her in the act as she was going to the fridge when she should have been in bed. It was past curfew. She was going in there to steal carrots, and she would just steal a handful of carrots out of the fridge and run off. Anyway, the next day, one of the nuns, the more sort of, sort of brash of the nuns, confronted this girl. And she said, "Hey, Lacey, notice that you've been stealing the carrots." And she says, "No, I haven't." She says, "You have. In fact, here they are." And then she opens this drawer. "Look, there's all the carrots. They found the carrots." She's like, "You call me, sister. You call me." And she's like, "Why have you been stealing all these carrots?" And she says, "Sister, I'm not going to lie to you. I have been masturbating with these carrots." And the nun says, "By God, why would you do such a thing? Are you happy with yourself?" The girl says, "Well, according to my doctor, my vitamin A levels are through the roof." And the nun says, "Oh, that's great. Anything else?" And she says, "Yeah, now my pussy can see in the dark." Look, welcome to the podcast. And we got a sponsor this week. And why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? We have a sponsor. It's called Unifam. Let me read the copy for you. Look, all you have to do is look out your window and see that there are others who aren't doing as well as us or as you. People who are struggling to make ends meet. People on the brink of complete breakdown. Yes, I'm talking about university students. Look, here at Unifam, we provide the much needed financial support for uni students still living at home with their parents who work only one day a week and are in dire need of dollars to supplement their Centrelink payments. Take James here. He says he's a 7th year media student, and he says, "Look, the fortnight payments, they used to fund my my ciggies and I need to get better handwriting. My ciggies and weekend tinnies, but with inflation, it's all just gone to shit. Hashtag poor but privileged. Look, the little Aussie battlers, uni students, they need our help. And if we can't assist their journey to graduation, then we'll risk losing an entire generation of bloggers, Twitter managers, and philosophers. So donate to Unifam today, and for God's sake, help a brother out." You heard them. After the podcast is finished, go donate some money to Unifam. It's a good cause. Get around it. Look, we got one of our rants segments. You know, the rants? That's where I rant about things. Just mishappened thoughts, pull out of thin air, shove together, put into a podcast segment just for you. Here we go. Rather brief segment of rants, but here it is. Look, I saw a silver Mercedes with one of those cabbie things on top of it. What the? Driving around in your car alone at night. Possibly the most underrated pastime ever. Note to self, it doesn't matter how green the grass is, you shouldn't have a picnic on a driving range. I bought some Macca's chips at the drive-thru, and shame had never tasted so good. Look, last night I watched an episode of Ren and Stimpy. Nightmares ensued. That's the rant segment. It's not amazing, but look, it's a work in progress. This podcast should be called the Work in Progress Podcast. The Work in Progress Podcast. Perfunctory. We've got Ask Willy segment now. Those are people write their questions into me. They pose me a question and I answer it. Thusly. Okay, here we go. We got a question from Grandmaster_Spongy at Gmail. Good old Grandmaster Sponge. He says, "How was your weekend, Willy?" And it's a fair question. I mean, it is the weekend. It was pretty good. Pretty interesting though. On Friday night, I was abducted by aliens, and they took me to their lab on another planet in a different dimension, where they conducted experiments on my genetic integrity via my anus before transporting me at light speed back to my bedroom, where I woke in a cold fear of anal agony. But apart from that, it was pretty chill. Apart from that, haven't been doing too much. Just been, staying clean. Got another question here from R2T2 at bingmail.com. The Bing Mail. I like a Bing Mail. I'm not going to lie, I'm a big fan of the Bing Mail. Okay. He said, "Hey, Willy, what's your favorite kind of tea?" My friend and I have been dying to know. We've been literally racking our brains all week. Really? You've been dying to know what tea I drink? You've been racking your brains, have you? You've been sitting there racking them. You've been racking them all day. You've racked them until there's nothing left to rack. There's no shelf. There's no rack. No closet. You really need to get a job, okay? Bing Mail, R2T2. But I have to say, if I did have a favorite kind of tea, it would be uppercase tea. No, my favorite tea is black. Anyway, that's it for the podcast. Just a shorty but a goodie. Hope you have a great week. This is actually going to be the last podcast for quite some time. And by quite some time, I mean 4 weeks. As I'm going on a European sexcapade. This podcast should have been sponsored by fucking some sort of condom company. Not that I use them. Anyway, that's it for the podcast. And I will see you in 4 weeks when I return from my European sexcapade. Goodbye.